So this is a meeting about just what's happening, that there's only and always just what's happening. Sounds, sensations, thoughts. Just exactly whatever is appearing. But it's not appearing for anyone or to anyone. There's nobody here to get hold of anything. No one here to do anything. Already. So there's only just what's happening, and nobody owns that. So anything can happen. So it doesn't matter. And this is the freedom. It doesn't matter what's happening because it's still this, whether it's pain or pleasure. And we could say that what is just this, it's not new, it's not old. There isn't a word. You know, because if I say this is new, compared to what? This is just a way of speaking, just a story, but everything is already accepted, all of it. With like, there's no fences, there's no borders, there's no keep out. It's just so free that so pain is it, confusion is it, thinking you know something is it, frustration is it, everything is it. And it doesn't matter what it looks like or what it feels like, it's still it. So someone agreeing with you is it, someone disagreeing with you is it, somebody that thinks you're the greatest thing since, you know, just thinks you're that's this. So that's what makes this meeting unusual, is there's just no advice, no suggestion. There's nothing. There's nothing on offer. There's, because there's only ever just what's happening. And the illusion is the me thinks that what it's looking for is elsewhere. It doesn't see this because it knows what this is. And by knowing what this is, you kill it. It's dead. It's a concept. And now I got a problem. I got a problem because my concept stinks, and now I want a better one. And so that's the illusory hamster wheel. It's just going from concept to concept to concept to it never gets anywhere. I mean, you could say that's the love, but there's nobody to own what is. It's so everything is free. The horn honking, the bum on the chair, whatever's happening is already free. It's and if a feeling to take action arises, then that's this too. So that's you can't go wrong. If it's all this, and there's nothing that's not this, it's just the me imagines that, well, the me's in time, we could say, so it needs a solution in time, if that makes sense. Right? I believe I exist in time. So I need a time-bound solution. The timeless isn't going to help me. Nothing isn't going to help me. I need a something. But there is only nothing appearing as whatever's appearing. And there can be a resonance with this message. Something in you can go, yeah, I don't know how I know, but something here, all is this. Even not liking that, even hating. And so all is this is the end of seeking, although there's nothing wrong with seeking if that's what's arising, but there's also nothing wrong with not seeking. When there's just wholeness, just this, And again, you don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. And that's, we could say, I'm going to put quotes up, but trap is that you think you know what something is. You think you know what that person is. You think you know why somebody did something. There's so much knowing. We're just covered in it. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's welcome to participate. If you have a comment or question, please feel free to unmute and jump in.
Michael, earlier when you spoke, you were saying, you started a sentence, the best thing since, and then you didn't finish it. Did you mean the best thing since sliced bread?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just bragging how I pick up some idiomatics, because I came here not speaking that much English, so I'm still picking up new expressions.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we take them for granted, like when you know what it is. Well, that's a good example, Peter, of that's the beauty of this. Like you can just enjoy what you just said. Like that's language and what's happening. If there's no owner of it, it's much more light and playful. And you can actually enjoy what you were saying, that, you know, best thing since sliced bread. Well, somebody in, you know, some other country, but they have their own version of that.
Exactly.
We could say that everything is this as that. So even a feeling of a me, even a feeling of a separation isn't really separate. So a feeling of separation is this too. And there's no reason, right? Why would this show up as a feeling of separation? There's no why, there's just what's happening. And so if there's sadness there, or if there's depression there, or if there's anxiety there, it can be there. It's just not yours.
What I noticed, Michael, in these periods when there is silence and we're just all here, that it's an unusual experience, because there is always something, it's almost like there's got to be something. Somebody's got to ask a question. There is going to be something. And to just rest in that nothingness it's very special and very unusual. It's very relaxing and refreshing too. But I notice it in, like, I start fidgeting with my hands or something. Like, it's just not a place that I rest in a lot.
Well, maybe it's just the body that's fidgeting. Maybe you're not moving.
So you're saying that the you that's not moving is the everything?
Well, the everything is is everything. So it's your question, it's me laughing, it's the Zoom meeting, it's the sky, it's the bird, it's your toe, it's everything. It's the ache in your back.
I was gifted with knowing Yo-Yo Ma, the cellist. And he, apart from being brilliant in the interpretation of the cello, he was very articulate in describing what it was like growing up in China and doing all this practicing, which was quite a drudgery for him. The analogy I'm looking for is this gifted and brilliant man, and what we see in the gifted and brilliant Nkosi, where he effortlessly walks that talk of seeing what arises, whether it's thought or feelings or emotions or passions, and speaks authentically from the disposition of that clarity as someone, a gifted musician, or gifted anyone in his or her field. And you do know when a discordant note is said or sounded. So to hear this gathering, and certainly this speaker, is seeing more and more clarity in that identification with the me. There's a piece in Nkosi, All Is This, where he's speaking apparently to Alice, and he says, it's said or is written, allow Alice to be Alice, don't be Alice. Or I would paraphrase it, allow Michael to be Michael, but don't be Michael. So to draw those analogies together with Yo-Yo and Nkosi, it's very clear there's an allowance of Nkosi to be Nkosi, but there's also evidence that there is a speaker or speaking that is not being Nkosi. So to hear, when you talk about speaking about being upset or suffering or energetically or sore toe or sore whatever, that's all everything. But the hat trick here is recognizing that very subtle line of allowing the expression of Michael as opposed to the being, the identification, and simply standing in the disposition that that too is this, or that too is God, or that too is everything in wholeness. So I'm speaking here for this clarification of this speaker. Thank you.
I like Dan, when you talk about everything as a story with labels. So our names are labels in a story and a dream. So I always remind myself that going through the day. Somebody calls me my name, well, that's a label in a story. And everything's a story.
Yeah. And yeah, so the label gives us something to know. So this gets sort of turned into a story. A story is something that now I know. I know what it is, and I know what to do with it. But this is not ever like that. We don't, there's nothing to know. The thing that's known is never what this is. The label is never this. And the label, me is a label, really. And that's why we say the labels don't really exist. They're not here.
Dan,
Yeah.
can we say that me is your favorite label? Right? Me is
Yeah,
the
I guess.
me is the me's favorite label. Right? Of all the imaginary labels,
Well, yeah, it's actually the labeling process, the labeling function somehow, which never happens. It's not happening. There are no labels. There's no labeler. There's nothing being turned into knowledge, nothing being known. You know, that's why we keep going back to just this. It's a stupid word. It is, you know, but it's the only thing. It just means, it's trying to mean what doesn't have a label, what hasn't been turned into a label, hasn't been processed into a processed, you know, processed food.
Right. Right. That's why we say it's not old and it's not new.
What came up, Michael, when you suggested about the me and label, that the me is like the default label. It's like the first thing that labels the other labels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the label labels itself into existence. You know, the labeling itself, which I'm saying doesn't happen. There is no labeling. This is never, there is no labeling, but you know, it's crazy. It appears to be this thing. So the labeling now that, you know, makes a label, and then the label, we call that me, and we call that my experience of life, the story, you know. I mean, all the labels kind of go together to make a story. All the words and all the descriptions and all the knowledge. But it's like a process that's just happening by itself for no one. And again, it's not even really happening. You can't explain. There's no label to explain what there really is. It's a weird thing. It's appearing, but it's not happening. That's why you have this appearance word, but the label really, yeah, is just I don't know. Yeah, again, it's when I try to think about like what really even is that, but it's just this being able to draw a line around something and say what it is, you know, and give it a name, as if you could do that with this, you know, as if we could find anything here that can be separated and then stamped what it is. But we can make a story about all of that, which seems to be livable and experienceable and very important and meaningful but there's just this is what is. It's never been seen, never been given a name.
Yeah, I was feeling kind of zen-y, kind of zen. I did a post the other day. There's nowhere that I'm not, yet I can never be found.
That thing where I am everywhere. I think it's the first part you said, yet I can never be found. I go back to, what is that I, given that statement?
If I answer it, Don, I'm just going to give you another concept. You could,
Hey,
you could put, Well,
Okay.
pick a word that you like better, right? Because now we're back into no, God's better, no, love's better, no, wholeness is better, no, I resonate more with just this. So pick your favorite word, because the word doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, go ahead, Dan. It's just that it can't be spoken. It's whatever I say isn't going to be exactly. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Well, I mean, we can look at the sense of I. I mean, it's a great question. I mean, that's the ultimate meditation. I mean, we could, you know, if we wanted to have one, you know, what is the I in this everywhere, or what is the? I mean, I is exactly the one who feels that I am separate from everywhere. That there's something called I, and then there's everywhere. And I'm in it. I'm in everywhere somehow, as separate, as a different thing. I is everywhere. Everywhere is I. There is no, they're not two things. There's not anything called I that isn't everywhere. So they're just two words for the same thing against the two words for what doesn't have a word. So we could call it everywhere, or we could call it nowhere. Exactly the same thing. Or we call it I, or we could call it everything. And there never was an I, again, separate from this. But I kind of is sort of the notion, the idea, the I don't know, the idea that there's something else going on here, which is me, I, and everything else is in relation to me or something separate that I can know about. And there's no knowing about anything because it's all it. It's all everywhere. I and everywhere. Yeah. But how does that ring with you, Don?
Well, it's interesting. I don't see where that gets where that gets to, or the person speaking it, especially like the, you know, Ramana Maharishi, those kinds of people, or Michael or you speaking it.
Yeah.
It's you all are referring to something, call it this, right? But it can't be referred to. It can't be known. We talk like it seems like we can know it, or we've got this ability to say it's there, but we can't know that because we're not here. So this talking that we're doing, I'm wondering, I know I'm going to get the answer. It's just this talking. And once again, I won't be able to argue with that one. If that's going to be the answer, it's just this. This is what's talking. Is that the answer I'm going to get? Or is there something different? So that's the one I can't argue with.
The answer here, Don, is that it really is the answer, though there's talking and people are talking back and forth, is really that moment when a phrase, whether it's Ramana Maharshi or that expression of Nkosi, allow Michael to be Michael, don't be Michael, when somehow there is Michael, a thought or feeling or a reactive thought to something you're saying, Don, or someone else. But at that moment, or more and more at those moments, there's that recognition, don't be Michael. And that opens up to the dissolution that, oh, the emptiness is there. There's non-necessity to speak about it. There's just silence. And even these words are simply extraneous, but there they are. But what I'm moving towards is the interior here. As you can imagine, a Yo-Yo Ma or any artist, or even Nkosi, feeling a note, feeling a feeling or emotion, and then with a bow, Yo-Yo strikes the cello, but with simply that wisdom or recognition, Nkosi says, ah, allow Alice to be Alice, but don't be Alice. But it's not the words you want to walk away with, but what that word, oh, just like the notes of the Bach cantata, brings you to. The notes sound and fade away, but you're not left with the notes, you're left in a different awareness. That's the beauty of it. To me, that's the brilliance and beauty of Nkosi and his words and many other great words. But the practice is here. So I don't have to argue how many angels dance on the head of a pin or the meaning of non-dualism, or get to be accused of smelling of Zen or smelling of non-dualism. It's just, oh, it's simply a quiet garden here where I have a chance to practice my instrument, so to speak. Those elements that I have not yet got. Allow Michael to be Michael, but don't be Michael. And everything opens up.
So this is saying that there's already no one to do that.
Right. I agree that there's Michael shattering away, but then I see that it's not real, or they're seeing, something is seen, and there's not necessity to do that.
The best we can do is take like a poetic license. So when I was saying I'm everywhere, I wasn't referring to a specific thing. I was taking artistic liberty. I, as metaphorically, am everywhere, meaning everything is this, I everywhere. I didn't mean like a specific I that's everywhere. And that can never be found is what the seeker is attempting to do, is find the source, find the I behind everything.
Sorry, but to play on the analogy, the sheet music that I experience is the sheet music of the recurrent Michael and its story. And it's, but with this ambience here and with the gifts that I've received from many other great wisdom, there comes a moment where you take the words and they bring you like a ladder taking you to the second floor. You no longer need the ladder. You don't need the words or the story or the me.
Well, the message being shared here, Michael, is that there's already no me.
Yes.
Already.
Absolutely. But the Michael that responds and says, yes, 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 there's still the residual of that identity in here that is being me. And I recognize it. And yet I'm also recognizing that admonition, don't be me, don't be Michael. You see, that's the paradox.
There's no me there to not.
Well, you're right, and you're right, but go tell the residual Michael that, Now, I hear you. I would answer, a multiple choice test. Is Michael right? Yes, yes. What he says is gospel. From your lips to God's ear.
Hey, residual Michael, you're not here.
Amen to that. In fact, I can't get rid of it soon enough.
We were looking for a word to differentiate you from me, so you can be residual, Michael. Oh my God.
The remains of the day, Michael.
Yeah, but it's totally smoke and mirrors. There is no such thing. It's just another concept. This is what I'm talking about. The me just rolls right into like a pig in mud, goes right for the next shiny concept. Can't help itself.
Is not the designation residual asshole for nothing.
Hi, welcome.
There's a recognition of it.
Hello, Michael. Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Hi.
How can I think there's a me and know absolutely there is no me?
Well, there's no one thinking already.
Amen.
There's no doer. There's just this, which may also appear as thinking happening.
Yeah.
May appear as somebody, but there's no real somebody there. It's just everything expressing as that already. So it's appearing as somebody who's seeking, is appearing as somebody who knows, appearing as somebody who doesn't know. So it's everything already. There's no real separation. There's no real separate self who's trying to get to this. There's just this, which is also appearing as somebody who's on the journey, trying to find this. So it's already everything. It's already everything. The seeking, the questions, the answers, it's already this. So all is this already. All the trying, all the sweating, all the giving up, it's just totality, wholeness expressing itself. So there isn't anybody here who can do anything. There isn't anybody here who can find anything or have the knowledge of totality. And this is just talking happening here. Nobody's doing it. And nobody's listening already. And nobody knows anything here. So the separate self can never really be found, because even the finder is already not there. So there's nothing to find and there's nobody to find anything. There's just this, what is. And this, as it is, doesn't belong to anyone. Anger doesn't belong to anyone. Frustration doesn't belong to anyone. The seeking itself doesn't belong to anyone. What seems to be the finding doesn't belong to anyone. There is no owner of anything here. There isn't anything here. There isn't anybody here to know and or own anything here. It's just what is. Which also appearing as listening, appearing as talking, appearing as wondering, appearing as confusion, also appearing as a question. So any question that seems to arise is just this. Any answer being given is just this. Any confusion is just this. So there's no real answer. There's no real question. All is this. And what is this? Nobody knows what this is because there isn't anybody here to know anything. It's just what is.
So no, it's nobody can do anything is what I'm getting, because there's no me. So I can't do anything. So if I go to the store, or if this body goes to the store and buys something after, that's not me. That's not a separate me making a choice to do that. You would say that's just happening. This body will go to over there and will get something. But there's no me, there's no me doing that.
Yeah, it's just what's happening. There's no doer. Even the thought of going to the shop to buy something is just this. It's just everything appearing as that, as a thought. It may say, oh, I'm going to the shop now to buy something to eat. I'm very hungry. It's been a long day. It's just everything appearing as that. There isn't anybody there who can actually do anything. It's just a thought. It's just this.
So let me take one step farther then. So this goes to the store, or apparently goes to the store and buys something healthy, so-called healthy, or buys something that's not healthy, comes back home, eats it. It has two different outcomes. One feels better, one doesn't feel better. Can we say that?
Everything is this. Everything is this.
Do
The
I
thought
have
of going to the shop and the body moving to the shop is already everything. That's as it is, doesn't belong to anyone. The thought itself that says I'm going to the shop, it doesn't belong to anyone. There's no owner of it already.
So I have no choice to be healthy or not. That's not up to, quote, me.
There's no me already.
So
It's just
everything, whether I get fruit or Twinkies,
Get the Twinkies.
it's there's no me. So when I'm at the store, when the thought is I'm at the store, whether I get Twinkies or fruit, organic fruit,
Doesn't match.
it's not. I'm missing something. Yes, it's just going to be what it is.
Yes,
I understand
just
that.
what is.
When I come home, if I come home, I'll either eat Twinkies or fruit, and I'll get that. That's what is. I can get that. I can get that as I'm eating the Twinkies and beating myself up for eating the Twinkies. That's all just this.
Already.
Don, let me say, what I'm hearing is separation and choices. There are no choices. There's no separation. It's just whatever you buy, you buy. You're talking in separation, Twinkies or potato chips, or that's all separation. Separation, choices.
But you're saying that's not, and you're saying that's not real.
There's no doer doing it.
And so the feeling of having an upset stomach or a good stomach,
Who's done?
that's-
Whose feeling is it?
well, it feels like I'm feeling it when I'm feeling pain.
But there's no you to feel it,
else.
is there?
What?
There's no you to feel it.
Yeah, there's just pain, Don, there's just pain. It's not, it doesn't have an owner.
But it seems like I can prevent some of that pain in some instances. That there's some level of something that I have that says I don't need to have this. I choose not this pain. I choose that pain. And I'm trying to figure out what that is, unless that's nothing. If that's just a story. I don't
get the yogurt.
Maybe they have Twinkie yogurt.
Okay, I'll let you keep going.
Don, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong if you assume it's just a story. That's usually wise.
That's a good one. Thank you.
And you can't go wrong anyway.
Hey Don, have you ever read the Tao Te Ching?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that to me, I translate a lot of this to the Tao, and it's the Tao is just happening, right? It just keeps happening. So anyway, if you hadn't read it, I would say you'd really get a lot. You'd really enjoy it. But maybe now that we've had these meetings, you might go back and take a look at it again, because I think it'll really resonate a lot with this message.
But right, I love it. But the Tao also says, do this and this will happen, do that and that'll happen. There's a lot of, from my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Only, yeah.
I only know one interpretation, Stephen Mitchell's, which I think is a really more of a Zen, he had a Zen background. But the Tao that can't be told is not the eternal Tao, right? So it all comes back to, it's just that the Tao is indescribable and it's just happening. And so anyway, just thought I'd share that.
I just want a weekly grocery report from you, Don.
And your health records.
If I eat a bunch of Twinkies tonight, Don, I'm going to track you down. And I'm going to ask you to never bring up Twinkies now. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
If I have Twinkies tonight, that's this too. So
Oh my God.
So all this conversation is just that we've had. It's just, this makes a little sense. It's all just happening. All this conversation that we're having and looking at each other and Twinkies and whatever, it's all just happening, right? It's just, yeah. Like it makes sense, or I can feel that. It seems like there needs to be something more. I'll just leave it like that. And Nkosi, is it
Or
anything more?
Twinkies.
More Twinkies.
That notion of needing something more is what we were talking about all night.
I love
and
it.
And the message that kept coming in is, it's perfect as it is. It's just this. And it doesn't make sense to no one.
Yeah, it's empty fullness.
Yeah, I think to get your head around the thought that there's no free will, I think that's difficult for us humans to get your head, because that's what you're saying, Nkosi, isn't it? That really there's no free will. Oh,
Oh,
you've got
you're muted.
There is no real free will. It's just everything appearing as somebody who's choosing. So there is no real free will. It's already this.
Yeah.
Everything is this already. More or less is already this.
The other thing I want to say is that Nkosi and I, well, in Australia, I don't know what Twinkies are, and Nkosi probably doesn't know either. So that's an in-house joke.
Hmm.
Do you know, Nkosi, what Twinkies are? I don't.
I was just assuming that maybe it's
Yeah,
some chocolates or some
something.
It's a
cakes
dessert.
or whatever.
It's a
Yeah,
dessert.
it's a dessert.
Dessert. Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks.
Imagine Nkosi and Faith, a sponge cake, a small sponge cake filled with whipped cream. It's all sugar. The whole thing, it's a sugar, yeah, it's a completely.
I remember those ones. Yeah.
And unhealthy additives.
It sounds delicious. We'll Google it later, Nkosi, won't we? We'll Google it.
Yeah,
Twinkies.
more Twinkies.
Mhm.
It's also a slang term for certain individuals.
Doesn't it have a white chocolate inside? A white chocolate, white cream or some sort?
Yeah, white cream.
White
Yeah,
cream.
White cream. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I know
Yeah.
those ones.
It's yellow with white cream.
Yeah, and you get two of them.
Double the sugar.
Double the two.
was that the candy that also was mentioned in the Twinkie defense? When somebody ate too many
Yeah,
Twinkies and
yeah.
they did something and they said,
Yeah.
well, he wasn't
Wow.
responsible, it was the Twinkies.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not responsible because it's just this.
Hmm.
This and the Twinkies.
Mhm.
My God, Nkosi, can you imagine the day comes when a lawyer to get his defendant off says, but there's nobody there to do it, Your Honor.
Nothing was done anyhow.
The Twinkie is a person or thing that seems appealing or attractive, but has little value or worth. Sounds like my remnancy.
But I think, Don, how do you respond when you hear that there's no free will? So you're not making a choice because there's no free will. How does that land with you?
So sometimes I can hear that. Well, I think I hear that more when I'm not identified as a me. You know, but when I'm identified as a me, trying to get better, trying to grow, trying to get enlightened, which is my mission in life, then it throws me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be better off trying to get a Twinkie, Don, because you can actually get a Twinkie.
I'm going out tonight.
And remember, if you said you want to get enlightened, Michael said early on that there is nothing offered here. So you may waste your time.
And so I always wonder why I keep coming back to this class, since I'm not going to get enlightened here. I think Nkosi really believes that I can get enlightened here. That's what I'm going to say. That's what Nkosi believes, really. Is that right, Nkosi?
It's hopeless. Hopeless.
That's the best thing you've ever said, Michael. It's hopeless.
But no one said it.
Bravo, Michael.
I don't get it.
I think it's sort of like I'm the only one that admits I'm an alcoholic here. You know, except it's sort of what they call it, the ism, the I, self, and me. You know, hi, this is Michael, and I suffer from residual identity, and it's hopeless. And there I go, wandering around in that dream.
Well, Kosi, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you would say that we're already enlightened.
Well, I would say there's no way to be
There's
enlightened.
nobody to be enlightened, yeah.
Yeah.
If there was.
But feeling a me looking for enlightenment is this also.
Exactly. It's already this.
So me looking for enlightenment is this, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. It's not wrong or right. It's just what's happening.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
Great meeting, always.
Yeah.
Very enlightening.
But no one, yeah.
What a raucous meeting.
Ooh.
What was your meeting about, Michael? Well, they proved that existentially that I didn't exist.
Twinkies.
Yeah.
I'm hopeless.
Thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. Nkosi, no words. Good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good
Hi, everyone.
night, everybody.